Hi. For my SWA one, my topic is going to be on the coronavirus. The article that I chose was from New York Times and it's inundated with flu patients, U.S. hospitals brace for coronavirus. The reason why I chose this article is because I'm very interested in going to the medical field, and I think it's really important that um, we should know what's going around in our nation or in the world, especially if it's deadly or really important. The reason why I chose New York Times is because it's very credible, and this article was very informative on the crisis and it demonstrated the three rhetorical elements. From the author's purpose in the overview, the authors Reed Elvis and Katie Thomas wrote this article just talking about the crisis and um, what is going on with medical supplies and all that. The purpose is to it's an informative article based on facts and observations from hospitals, and it kind of compares the flu season to the epidemic and how it's um, a lot of the resources are hard to find and the supply is becoming limited. And yeah, the main points they just talk about how China has a large amount of our supply and now it's running low due to the crisis from coronavirus. The summary, it basically just talks about how so many people a year, especially for the flu season, come to hospitals, and now that coronavirus is going on, hospitals are afraid that they're not going to have enough supplies. And so far, they say a dozen in the U.S. have been affected, and what the main concern is in the US is just the supplies that we need because China has a lot of our main ingredients for penicillin, ibuprofen, aspirin, which a lot of us take daily. Um, Another part of the summary is they compare this situation as an epidemic to the swine flu and Ebola, um, and just how it just affects doctors and nurses and companies and manufacturers all over the world. Um, the intended audience is mainly for the public or people in the healthcare, or people that are being affected by this virus or even the flu, or people working in companies that provide like medical supplies. For ethos shows credibility and reliable. So a lot of this in the article, they talk about doctors and they just talk about all these experts that know a lot about what's going on in like hospitals and like manufacturing companies and like a lot of important details in that area. Pathos, it talks about how it kind of brings emotions about fear and sadness, how even doctors are getting infected or even they get affected by this. Like the doctor that found the coronavirus died. And so yeah, they use that as an example and how like nurses are afraid because they've been through this with the Ebola virus. Logos, so it's gonna be logic, statistics, and just like kind of proves what's going on, how it makes it credible. So a lot of the examples that I chose give like some details and some numbers and like how many certain hospitals deal with this. Um, and then other than that, the conclusions overall, the article's main points and all that, they just talk about the overall how like we need more supplies and how the US is already dealing with the flu now. They're scared for the potential outbreak. And then just like how they compare to old viruses and stuff like that. And then, yeah,